I say all of this mess was my fault while we almost got arrested. Yeah, it basically is all on me on that point. But what's up, Fitted Squad? This is Brad, aka Too Fitted, coming to you with another quick video. And today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna be doing a story time video. As you can tell by the title of this video, what the story is going to be about. But I'd like to say shout out to Quentin from Quentin TV, as well as to the guys over at VinWiki. Definitely shout out to them for the inspiration for this video. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the story when I almost got arrested. This was back in 2005. It was a senior in high school. I just had a friend hung out with a lot. We've been good friends since freshman year. I had just moved to the state. He's one of the first people I kind of hung out with. Every time we used to hang out, he used to always say, "Hey, I got this cousin. You should meet him. He's into all the same stuff we always talking about, and he's pretty cool. He's into this, he's into that. You should meet him." He brought it up all the time over the years I've known him. Fast forward to our senior year in high school, first semester. It was still pretty early in the year. I was still 16. I haven't even turned 17 yet. And he was 17. I think he was about to turn 18. But one day, he brought it up again. "Hey, you should meet my cousin." I was like, "Alright, well, we can make it happen now." He was driving. He had his license. He had a car. So I was like, let's make something happen. So he talked with his cousin, and his cousin, he was working full-time. We were in high school, and we worked part-time. So our schedules kind of clashed so much that we never really got to make it happen. So we were just trying to figure out when we can hang out. But it was like, don't worry about it. It's too much trouble. We'll see him when we see him. The very next day, his cousin actually called him. But at the time, I didn't know who was calling. I just heard him say, "Hey, I'm not dealing with none of the mess. I'm not getting in trouble for you." And then he hung up on him. And then he told me what happened. He told me it was his cousin. And I was like, "Isn't this the same cousin you want me to meet? You've been talking about for all these years?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, this is a perfect time. We can meet up. What he wants you to do?" He said he wants him to pick him up or pick up his girlfriend and drop her off at his house. And I was like, that sounds easy. What kind of trouble could that be? Oh, you about to find out. I say all of this mess was my fault while we almost got arrested. Yeah, it basically is all on me on that point. But so what ended up happening? He was like, all right. He called him back, and he basically said, "All right, I'll help you, but I'm not getting in any trouble for you. So if anything happens, I'm doing whatever I need to cover myself." And I'm thinking, that sounds pretty weird. What kind of trouble is it going to be? Should have been a red flag. But I don't know. I just didn't think that far into it. I mean, I was only 16 anyway. But so, because we actually was hanging out this particular day for some reason. We were actually, alright, so on this particular day, I had early release. So after third period, I was done for the day. He decided to skip for some reason. So basically we went to this was planned out before. He had planned to pick up his cousin's girlfriend. So basically what happened was we met up right after I got out of class. He got out of class. We just went over to the neighborhood. It was a couple blocks away from our school. We're driving through the neighborhood, and as we're going through the neighborhood, he's like, "I think it's around here." And then we saw this young white girl. To us, she wasn't young because, I mean, we were about the same age. So we saw her on a corner of a street. He was like, "Oh, that must be her," because she was waving. She was looking for the car. So we stopped, picked her up, drove her to his cousin's house, which was another few blocks away. It was all within a 4 or 5 minute drive. So we dropped her off. And I was like, "Where's your cousin?" He was like, "Well, he said he's at work." So I was like, "Oh, well, the whole point of this was so I could meet him." But he's like, "Well, when school's out, he's supposed to be there." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll just go ahead and meet him when school's officially out." So we went, hung out for a little bit, went and got some food and everything. Fast forward to the time that school was actually out. Of course, there's a lot of traffic because you got everybody dropping their kids off, picking them up, all this stuff. So we get a call from his cousin to basically go back to his house, pick her up, and drop her back off where we picked her up from. So we went to go ahead and do that. And when we were on the way there, we were thinking he was going to be at the house, but he wasn't. It was just her. So it's like, all right, well, didn't get to meet him this time, but I was starting to understand why he didn't like dealing with his cousin as much, because it was like he said he was going to be there, but that was a whole nother issue there. So we go to drop her off. As we're going in, it's so much traffic. You got cars everywhere, and we're just going back to the exact same spot we picked her up at, and there's cars lined up behind us, cars lined up in front of us, and there's cars leaving. And all of a sudden, girl, she's in the back seat. She starts panicking. She's just like, "Go back, go back, go back!" She's just yelling, "Go back!" And we looking at each other like, "What? What's going on?" We're trying to look around, see what's going on, and a car that was in front of us had just pulled up, like he was just going into the school. And we looked forward, and we saw a police officer, and we saw some man. He looked real upset, pointing at the car, and then there was another guy in a suit. And he was listening to the guy. And so we couldn't really go anywhere because there was no room to go any direction. We couldn't back up, we couldn't do anything. And we still didn't know what was going on. So the guy comes running up to the car. He goes to my friend on the driver's side. And he's like, "I hope you know what you did. I hope you know what you're doing. You're going to jail." So he was saying he's going to jail. He said, "You kidnapped my daughter off of school grounds. You're going to jail." And there's a police officer right next to him. And so the police walk up to my friend's side of the car, and he's just like trying to find out what's going on. And he's getting my friend's information. He got my information as well, but he was kind of focused on my friend. He's like, "So what's going on?" He's like, "Look, I don't know what's going on. My cousin just asked me to pick up his girlfriend and drop her off and then drop her back off and all this." So he explained that to him, and then the cop was just like trying to get the story, and then the girl's father, he yanked her out of the car, and he started yelling at the cops saying, "Oh, we need to get this guy arrested." And my friend was like, "Okay." So yeah, my friend was like, he looked at me, he's like, "See, this is exactly what I mean." And I couldn't say anything. I was just sitting there. I didn't know what to do. So the guy, after he got his daughter into some other vehicle, went back to the area where my friend was at the front of the car, and he's like yelling. He's like, "Where is he? Where is he? Where's this guy?" He knew his cousin by name and everything. He's like, "Where is this shit? Where's he at?" And so what my friend was saying, "Look, I ain't got nothing to do with this. I just did a favor for my cousin. We didn't even come this far before. We were just right down the street. We didn't even know it was a school here. We didn't know anything." And then the guy was yelling, like, "You couldn't tell that she was only 14 years old?" Well, 14 or 15. I don't remember exactly the age. And we looked at each other like, oh, we didn't know what was going on. It was like, she didn't look a lot younger because, I mean, I was only 16, so she looked like she's around that age, so it didn't, no alarms went off in my head. But what ended up happening was he's like, "Look, I could tell you where what ended up happening was the dad was like, "So, you're going to take me to him. You're going to take me to him right now, and then we'll let all this go." He's like, "All right, cool." So we drove to his house, and he knew he wasn't home. So we drove him to the house, and he went and knocked on the door. Of course, nobody answered. And he's like, "No, that's not good enough. I don't even know if you gave me the right house." And he's like, "All right, well, I could take you to the job because I ain't trying to get in trouble." So we ended up taking him to the job, which was right around the corner. It was the same job that we worked at. I didn't even know. He just worked in the day shift when we were in school. So we get there. Dad gets out. He goes in. He's making some big scene. And then the dad ends up getting in trouble because he's going to somebody's job while they're at work. So the security guard was trying to get him escorted out, or trying to escort him out. But in that time when he was gone, we just got to leave. The cop was like, "Hey, y'all can go ahead. We got your information if we need anything." And what I believe happened was they reached out to the school. I'm not 100% sure. I think they reached out to the school to verify that if we were supposed to be there or not. And I think he might have gotten in trouble for skipping, but I'm not 100% sure on that part. But I didn't get in any trouble. But it's definitely a scary case for me because if If anybody know me, I'm straight laced. I don't do nothing to get in trouble. But yeah, that was a pretty scary one. And it was basically my fault because I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and help this cousin out so we can finally meet him, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I still haven't really got to meet him because after that, I saw him like in the lobby of the job. And he's kind of taunting the dad a little bit. So I saw him, but that was really it. I didn't really have to even talk to him or anything. So after that, he never brought up the cousin again. I never brought him up again. But he still jokes every now and then. He'll hit me up. He's like, hey, make sure you don't kidnap any white girls. But yeah, it was not funny at the time. I was definitely scared. But yeah, that's just a quick little story time. Just want to let you all know. If you guys enjoyed that story, want to know any more or learn any other stories about me, definitely let me know in the comment section. Please like, comment, subscribe. And as always, have a good one. Peace.